Okay, since I can't do anything anyway, since we killed 10 headless ones, I want to talk today on YouTube about the meta. AKA, we're now in Gyrfalcon season since it's re-enabled. If you don't know what Gyrfalcon Hauberk is, or however you pronounce it, Gyrfalcon, correct me in the comment section, boost that engagement rate. In PvE, there are a variety of bonuses that I don't care about. You can do some pretty cool things where you have 6 hunters, and keep using Invis as a damage buff, but you could also do that with Star Eater Scales and Golden Gun, so it's worth mentioning. It's not anything hunters haven't had access to, but if it's more fun in the end game for you, it's more fun. The important part I want to talk about is the fact that when you come out of Invis in PvP, player versus player, you get a damage bonus, and that damage bonus can tangibly make a difference. So, for example, if you use an adaptive pulse rifle, the first burst to break Invis will not have a damage bonus, but the second will. It will take the 32 damage headshot and bump it to 37, so times 3 on the burst. It's always going to be a 2 burst no matter the resilience. I'm probably throwing in the background gameplay here because I'm focusing on what I need to say next. Choosing my words carefully because, God forbid, I say an overpowered exotic is overpowered. People lose their mind. But anyway, that damage bonus makes a big difference on fusion rifles since the act of charging up the fusion rifle breaks your invisibility and activates the damage perk, thus acting as an artificial range extender on fusions and making them more forgiving in their intended ranges. Also, sometimes it just hard negates the overshield, so even Sentinel Titan has less value in a meta full of Gyrfalcon. So right now, some people in chat ask like, hey, I'm a Warlock main, what do I use this season? My answer, honestly, dude, you don't play Warlock anymore. You're a Gyrfalcon main now for the foreseeable future because the exotic is that good. The reason it's that good is because it gives you a damage bonus for doing what you're already going to do with Invis anyway. You're not changing anything. You're not trying to be sneaky and let your Invis run out at the exact time you're going to shoot them. It's just if the opportunity presents itself, you shoot them, and half a second later, you get a damage bonus, and you win your fight because of it. So in today's video, now that I caught you up to speed, I am going to tell you what the meta is. This is less of a prediction, and more just telling you what it is, because I put a lot of hours into PvP. And at this point, history has repeated itself like 10 times, so I can already tell you what it's going to be. The answer is Arbalest in the kinetic slot, Drang in the energy slot. And there is going to be a better option than Drang, but a lot of you are not going to be lucky enough to get it. So thank you for watching the video. That's the summary. Arbalest Drang. You want 1 Khepri Sting and 2 Gyrfalcon. And the reason you want that is because the wall hack is your opening pick. Always, since the beginning, you can look at my YouTube channel. Always been posting Khepri footage. Always thought it was a goated exotic, and I can't believe people have said it was bad in the past. That's crazy. It's wall hacks in an FPS game. But 1 Khepri, 2 Gyrfalcon. Your Khepri looks for the opening pick. Your Gyrfalcons fly in with fusions once they get it. So, now that we know the Khepri optimal loadout, which is Arbalest String, we need to know the Gyrfalcon optimal loadout. For mouse and keyboard, you need a pulse rifle, since the first burst isn't going to activate, but the second's going to give you a faster TTK, and then a fusion rifle, right? So, this is going to sound crazy here, but I recommend no time to explain. I know it only got a slight recoil and aim assist nerf. It should be unusable, according to the Destiny community. But I'm here. I regret to inform you, it's seemingly unchanged on mouse and keyboard for players that already used it well. So, no time to explain. It gives you a damage buffer. Sure, it's always a 2 burst, but what if an enemy is slightly weak? What if they have disruption break and got their full health back? What if they have an overshield? No time to explain gives you an alternate win condition. I should probably hop into a strike here. And it's just a very good, easy to use pulse rifle. And once the time chasm buddy pops up, it's going to absolutely chew through people. You might even kill them before the second burst comes out sometimes. The fusion rifle you want to use, I don't know if plug 1 is accessible anymore. So I don't really know what to recommend as far as energy fusion rifles, but feel free to let me know in the comment section. In Rumble, I just threw on Null Composure and completely destroyed the lobby. You could go a high impact too and get some pretty far kills. I think adaptive is the move though out of all the frames. I tried precision frame and it was still pretty good. Let's see here. Fusion rifles. Anything speak to me? Made ingredient's still gonna be fine. Your bread and butter or go-to is still gonna work. Zealot's reward can be good if you grind for that with high impact reserves. Dreambreaker can get the slide perk, which is very good. If plug 1 is obtainable, you want plug 1. I don't think it is. Xur sometimes sells a Iota Draconis with some decent perks. You can craft likely suspects, so that's a thing. Same thing with Iota Draconis and Cartesian Coordinates. Sometimes Xur sells a good one. I tried a perfect Exile's Curse. I don't recommend it. I am going to recommend the Iron Banner fusion, though, because of Skulking Wolf. That's a perk where if you are critically wounded as you get the kill, it will knock you off the radar for 10 seconds with invis rules. Yeah, I think as far as energy fusions, those are the recommendations. Let me check chat. They say like successful warm-up Midas. Yeah, that sounds great. Think you could get Snorri from the Gunsmith or Cryptarch still. Timeline's Vertex from Dares, which by the way can get 20 zoom and snapshot. Pretty much any fusion's gonna work with this build because Gyrfalcon is making it ultra consistent. But if you really want to min-max, Burden of Guilt is incredible when it was available last weekend. That's the one you want. I think Lego Flash made a video on it. I can link that in the description if I remember. Let me know in the comments section. This, as he says, the Swiss Army knife of fusions, it's going to get the job done. And since your exotic slot is now open, I recommend you go Collective Obligation. If you've ever heard of that gun, I'm going to switch strikes here in a sec too. Collective Obligation leeches void debuffs. I advise you get used to it in PvE before using it in PvP, but it's a lot of fun in PvE. But PvP, I mean. During Mayhem, or whatever that game mode was, in Iron Banner, my friends and I used 5 Collective Obligations in a Divinity. And it was really effective because you could leech the suppressor buff and shoot missile titans out of the air to get rid of their super. So when it comes to Hunter, you can make your Gyrfalcon build have suppressor nades, and then your smoke tags will weaken. You can have weakened suppressor nade, and you can have suppress and weaken up at the same time on Collective Obligation. When you activate the perk, it's always going to 2-burst regardless of if you use the invis activation. So in the later rounds of trials, when supers are going to come up, it is realistic to hold on to a suppressor in the burst. Especially if you're running an all-void team, it is worth considering. If you are a Rumble player, I think Rat King is the move. If you're an Elim player, I think Devil's Ruin is the move because as you charge up Devil's Ruin, it acts like a fusion rifle. And don't feel like you're tied to this with the sniper rifle. Unfortunately, fortunately, sniper rifles were hit with a flinch nerf, but linear fusions were not, which is why you're going to see the uptick in Arbalist more than it already was going to anyway. So don't feel like you have to be tied to a sniper rifle. Let your Kepri player look for the pick. Your job is to fly in with Burden of Guilt, and when you're out of your primary ammo, which is fusion ammo, switch to your Devil's Ruin and use it as a normal sidearm, and then when somebody's weak, you hit when you're low on ammo, you just laser down. You can also delete supers. It will not surprise me if someone lasers a missile titan out of the air. It's that good. I did try Lord of Wolves before it was disabled for some reason. Check the previous couple videos where Lord of Wolves bugged out and it was looking like Fighting Lion. It was pretty funny. But unfortunately, it does not work in the way you think it does. I think the last bullet of a 5-burst is extra damage. And if that's what's going to happen, you might as well just not use it. The advantage of Lord of Wolves is that it doesn't show a glint while invisible. So that's what makes it good for closing the gap. If you're going to use Omni, Lord of Wolves is still pretty good, but I think at this point, Gyrfalcon just completely overtakes it. Teraba is always an option, but I would rather just use Rat King. I think that's pretty much it. There are some off-meta picks that are still pretty strong, like I think DMT, Crimson, Traveler's Chosen, all the above. Still very good despite not having perfect synergy with the build. I'm going to mention Bastion. You switch to Bastion when you're playing triple Barricade Titan. That's pretty much it. In the range department, it's a little bit too hurt to do its job, but it does act like a pocket shotgun where it can one-slug somebody, and you can start getting multi-team collats. I think that's it. Let me ask Twitch chat here. Did I forget anything as far as the Gyrfalcon meta? As far as your stat splits, I think you want 6 resilience for a shotgunner. And it might be 4 for Arbalist, but I'm going to have to double check that again. But definitely plan to survive a body shot against Arbalist. Someone in chat's asking Lemon Arc. I think it's worth switching to Lemon Arc if you're out of ammo. Yes, that's a thing in Trials that people do. I'm not probably going to do it, but just know that it exists. So, yeah, you could Lemon Arc, maybe get a one-tap. As for the Void aspects, just go for pure stats. I think I'm safe to recommend 6 Resilience, though, just because it does come up for a lot of Resilience gates. Jingleheimer asks about grenade launchers with proxy. If it's a far enough target, yes, it will activate. So you can one-hit with that. Which means you can run Rat King in a tube, which I have seen before Gyrfalcon was enabled again, and that did very well against me. Anything else? I think that's the meta, though. So to recap, Khepri Sting, Arbalist Sidearm, mostly Drang. If you want the enhanced sidearm, go for anything with Kill Clip and Rangefinder. If you're playing other Invis teams, you want Threat Detector, because Threat Detector will let you know when they're in a 15-meter radius around you, which helps you suss out the exact location of the Invis. And it is going to matter, since everybody else is going to be on Gyrfalcon. If you are not the Khepri Sting player, you're the Gyrfalcon player. In that case, you have a variety of loadouts to choose from, but I think the most effective is Pulse Rifle Fusion, or Sidearm Fusion. And I think that's it. I think that's all. Hope this informed you. Prepare for Trials. Good luck. Don't get too frustrated. But at the end of the day, I want everybody to equip Gyrfalcon so that Bungie sees, 80% of players in Trials of Osiris are using Gyrfalcon. Maybe we should nerf it. And then it gets nerfed and it's slightly better. But the real thing Bungie should be looking at is the transparency of Invis. In Halo, if you move around, you become less transparent as you move around. So I think in Destiny, not only at base should it be less transparent, easier to see, you should also be even less transparent when you start moving fast or sprinting. And if you crouch and hold still and you're off radar and whatnot, then you get the full effects of Invis, right? That makes sense. And if that is too much of a nerf, they could exchange it by allowing you to be off radar a second longer, or making your smoke grenade last a second longer. Things like that. It's not just the Invis dial that they could touch. I don't have to kill this guy. I love the radar manipulation, and I wish there were more radar manip tools in this game. Unfortunately, the Skulking Wolf weapon set is not easily obtainable, nor do we have all of them. But they need to keep making perks like that to combat Invis, as well as just make it more visible. On some backgrounds, you just simply cannot see it. I think that's the whole vid right there. So, thanks for tuning in to this live stream snippet. I get this question a lot, so I wanted to answer it the best I could. You get the strike sidearm from the Zavala engrams for rank up packages. Bye.